So I'll cover some stories that went from bad to worse, and I have to say this has to be beyond that. This is 20-year-old Passion Jeffrey and her 2-year-old son Taylin Mosley, and they both live in St. Petersburg, Florida. So on March 29th of 2023, Passion had threw her then boyfriend Thomas Mosley a birthday party at her apartment, where they invited all her friends and family there. Now, everybody that was at the party would say they had partaken in some THC use, including the birthday boy himself, Thomas Mosley, but they had all left around 5:15 p.m. Now, it would seem that after everybody had left, that's when everything seemed to go downhill from there. Because at 9:03 p.m., Thomas Mosley arrived at his mother's house covered in cuts on both his hands and arms, where he had to be taken to the hospital, but he would not say what happened to him. So the next day on March 30th of 2023, Passion Jeffrey's family would go to her apartment after they weren't able to reach her via text or phone calls. And so when they got there, they realized there was a blood trail going from her apartment door all the way out to the parking lot. So they contacted the apartment manager as well as police to go ahead and do a welfare check. And so when police made entry into the apartment, they had found 20-year-old Passion Jeffries deceased with over 100 stab wounds. And they also found during a search of her apartment that her 2-year-old son, Taylin Mosley, was missing. Police will go ahead and put out an Amber Alert, as well as the Jeffrey family will go ahead and hold a press conference in the hopes of finding young Taylin Mosley alive. Now, believing that the father was involved in all this, they went ahead and pinged his phone, where they found out that around 8:42 p.m. his phone had pinged around Lake Magyar in St. Petersburg. So police had went to the lake in the hopes of finding the little boy alive, but instead they found this. They found him in the mouth of an alligator in the process of being eaten. And so police had to figure out a way to try to get the body back without spooking the alligator and making him take off. And so the only option they had was to take down the animal. So Thomas Mosley was arrested at St. Anthony's Hospital, where he was admitted for all the lacerations he had on his hands and arms, which were consistent with a knife attack. So on April 11th of 2023, the prosecution tried to subpoena Mosley's medical records, but his defense team had quickly shut that down by stating that his medical records are protected under both state and federal rights to privacy and should not be given to the prosecution. They also stated that while he was at the hospital, he had surgery on his arms, as well as he was placed underneath the Baker's Act while he was at the hospital. For those that don't know what a Baker's Act is where a hospital or a mental health facility can involuntarily confine a person at their facility if they feel the person is either A, suffering from a mental illness where they can't make a decision on their own, or B, are a danger to themselves or a danger to others. The prosecution is arguing, saying that they don't want any information related to the Baker's Act, they only want the information related to the lacerations and his blood work. But his defense team are saying, no, you just don't want that information. You also want to see if he made any kind of statements to the hospital staff as to how he got the lacerations and why he's in the hospital. But then the prosecution also shot back, saying that they also need his toxicology report to ensure that he wasn't under the influence of anything else, either before or at the times of the homicides. Now, the reason for that is to see if he suffered from what's known as a substance-induced psychosis, in which you don't know what that is when a person has a psychotic break after taking in some illicit materials. The symptoms can be a lot worse if the person has a pre-existing diagnosis such as bipolar or schizophrenia. As of now, Thomas Mosley is being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and is being held without bond, as well as he was appointed a public defender where he has a no-contact order with the victim's family, and the prosecutors are seeking the death penalty in his case. On October of 2023, Thomas Mosley was found incompetent to stand trial after his mental evaluation from 2 court-appointed doctors, and per their recommendation, he was transferred to a psychiatric hospital in Chattahoochee, where he remained there until his re-evaluation in April of 2024.